All right, welcome back, Truth Seeker. This past Monday, March 10th, Netflix had advertised that they were going to premiere their Osama bin Laden documentary, Manhunt. And then, for unknown reasons, they have delayed the date. And I'd say part of those reasons are people are waking up to the ritualism that goes on in the world of entertainment, news media, government, thanks to people like this community that's been exposing these things. What I want to show is why this was supposed to come out on Osama bin Laden's birthday, and his 68th birthday specifically, in light of it being narrated by CIA agents, and what this story has to do with the death of the Pirate Bay co-founder in a plane crash on the exact same day. Of course, when you think Osama, you're going to think about planes. And what a lot of people overlook is before 9/11, there was Pan Am 103. Pan Am 103. Islamic terrorism on a plane. Of course, the majority of the world writes Osama bin Laden's birthday, March 10th, is 10/3, like 103. So let's bring these stories together and understand the mockery. And also, breaking news, will connect another familiar pattern as Mark Carney has been confirmed and sworn in as Canada's 24th Prime Minister. But yes, this was supposed to debut on what would have been Osama bin Laden's 68th birthday anniversary. And as we've gone over probably no less than 1,000 times over the last decade, it's probably double that. 1968 was the year that the plan for 9/11 2001 went into motion, and it's very obvious. Again, World Trade Center construction began in New York City in 1968, emphasis on 68. 911 was made the national emergency dialing code. George W. Bush graduated from Yale. He was a member of Skull and Bones. Boeing debuted their jumbo jetliners. The founder of Boeing also went to Yale and was in Skull and Bones. Boeing's also headquartered in Seattle. And of course, the man who designed the World Trade Centers was a Japanese American from Seattle. Japan's associated with Pearl Harbor, like 9/11 was the new Pearl Harbor. They both have to do with kamikaze pilots. Again, all the planes supposedly used on 9/11 were Boeing's. Again, after 9/11, you had the Patriot Act, and then the Patriots becoming the greatest team ever. After the New York Jet, Mo Lewis took out Drew Bledsoe, who played in Washington State, where Seattle is. The New York Jets won their only Super Bowl in 1968, Super Bowl III. Kind of like how there were 3 Jets that supposedly hit targets on 9/11. Muhammad Atta, the lead hijacker, was born in 1968. That's the year the Quran code was discovered that said the Quran is centered on the number 19. Like they had to tell you there were 19 hijackers on 9/11. It's also the year Timothy McVeigh was born, who had the biggest act of domestic terrorism in the U.S. prior to 9/11. And not to mention, he was put to death exactly 3 months before 9/11 happened. Former CIA operative, as was Osama, who went under the code name Timothy Osman. And it's crazy how 20-some years later, the internet now tries to act like this isn't true, downplays it, calls it a conspiracy theory. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's a conspiracy fact. Timothy Osman, a.k.a. Osama bin Laden, was funded by the CIA for the group he created, the Mujahideen. I always say it wrong, but again, they were the group in Afghanistan that was interfering with the Soviets. And Osama also entered the most prestigious private school in Saudi Arabia in 1968. They say a school that was influenced by the West. Remember, the only people who were allowed to fly after 9/11 were bin Laden's family members. But yeah, there's a lot of jokes with bin Laden. You learn gematria. Notice how the word terrorist equals 52. What day did he die? He died on May 2nd, supposedly, right? 5/2. Terrorism is 54. He died 54 days after his 54th birthday. And of course, Islam also has the 54, and so does the Jesuit order who runs the show. And we'll come back to that. But look, it would have been his 68th birthday, right? And here's this show that's to be narrated by former CIA agents involved with his case. And how many times have we talked about this? How CIA has the 68 Gematria connection, how Papa Bush was working for the CIA in 1968 before he became the 41st president, before his son became the 43rd president. And remember, Papa Bush, when he was president, he gave the speech literally 11 years to the day of 9/11/2001, September 11th, 1990, about the future of a new world order that will be realized. And then what came down 11 years to the day later? World Trade Center. But yeah, again, it's just par for the course. We talked about Netflix and their release dates and how it's synced up with history and current events. Remember what they did in the time of the scandemic? Do you remember how many things they had released at the time of the scandemic that were just like in your face, total mockery? The day after the cootie shows up in the U.S. in Bill Gates' backyard, they just happen to have it just ready in time. Bill Gates documentary, The Next Pandemic. You're just to shrug your shoulders and go, oh, it's probably just a coincidence. And sadly, this is what dopes do. So anyway, on his 68th birthday anniversary, the guy who began attending the Western influenced Saudi Arabia school in 68, just they got this documentary already when all these things went down in 68. And you guys have seen me talk to some people in recent times who want to say that this list of things is all coincidental. And then even after you explain it to them, they'll give response like, are you kidding me? The New York Jets Super Bowl? You think that's connected? It's like, yeah, retard. It definitely is. You didn't get the 9/11 Patriot Act Patriots thing with Mo Lewis, the Jet, taking out number 11, Drew Bledsoe, when 9/11 was on the 11th of the month. The buildings that came down in New York, the 11th state, looked like an 11. The first flight was AA-11, 11 years to the day of Papa Bush's. Again, these lemming minds, some people call them Goyim minds. They just can't put 1 + 1 = 2 together. They think it's a coincidence. They've never heard of mathematics before. You're making that up. 1 + 1 = 2 is a conspiracy theory. So anyway, this is something that was supposed to come out and was advertised to come out for months on this day. We'd been talking about it in advance. And again, we've been calling attention to why they were doing this. And the next thing you know, for unknown reasons, they're going to delay it to an unforetold date. And we'll watch when they do release it, because no doubt they're going to queue up another special ritual. But yeah, they thought, well, maybe that one guy on the internet who we keep censoring and deleting, but he keeps coming back, maybe people are going to finally catch on about what he's saying about 68 if we do put it out on his 68th birthday anniversary. So anyway, where's this fit in? The Pirate Bay co-founder dying in a plane crash. What was 9/11? It was a false flag. Where does the terminology of false flag come from? It comes from pirates. So let's look at how this goes together. We said at the beginning of the year to look out for plane crashes being a theme in 2025. It's exceeded my expectations. We said that because plane crash equals 97, which is the 25th prime number, going with 2025. But plane crash in Pirate Bay. Again, the Pirate Bay co-founder dies in a plane crash. Can we confirm the triple overlap here? 97, 43, 56. Remember, Brotherhood of Death equates to 97. That's the alias for Skull and Bones, which Papa Bush and Junior Bush were members of. 43, that's what Yale equals. Like Junior Bush, who was president when 9/11 happened, was number 43. Again, Florida equals 43. The election came down to the state where his brother was the governor, Florida. His brother was the 43rd governor. Tom Brady, who followed that whole ritual with 9/11 and the Bushes, he goes down to Florida at age 43 and wins the Super Bowl over the Chiefs, which we told you for free would happen before the season even began. But yeah, plane crash, Pirate Bay, perfect overlap. And the actual, a lot of these headlines do say Pirate Bay, but if you look, the company logo is the Pirate Bay. The Pirate Bay. So what's the Pirate Bay equal? 68. Just happens to equal 68 on Osama's birthday. when again, Osama is an extension of the ongoing rigged rituals, the ongoing New World Order narrative, which goes back to Pan Am 103, which again involves planes. The Pirate Bay rhymes with CIA, and they both equate to 68. Another one is this man, Carl Lundstrom. He died 177 days from the anniversary of the establishment of the company, which was in September, 2 years after 9/11. And notice, 177 days, huh? Seen that one before? New World Order equals 177, like the Jesuit order. This man died on the 69th day of the year. New World Order also has that 69, like false flag. The guy blamed for the thing, the false flag, who we couldn't catch until 11 years later. Remember, it took 11 years to get him. He just happens to be born on the 69th day of the year. Okay, so I want to bring up this point now. Remember, Osama bin Laden. A lot of interesting things in his name. It equals 110, like how tall the buildings 1, 2. Buildings 1 and 2, the Twin Towers, were 110 stories tall. And notice how cave dweller is very similar. Again, Bush would always call him the cave dweller. Cave dwellers 110 and 47, just like Osama bin Laden. Just like President, too, for the record. But again, buildings 1 and 2 were 110 stories tall. Do you see the 11 in the number? Building 7, the one that fell 7 hours later, was 47,000 square feet per floor. That's how much office space it had, and it was 47 floors tall. And of course, the Masons study the 47th problem of Euclid, and the secrets of masonry are in Solomon's Temple, and building 7 was the Solomon Brothers building. But notice how Osama bin Laden's also 79. Just like Society of Jesus is 79. Just like how Knights Templar is 79. Again, the Templar cross in the middle of the Jesuit Order's logo. The Templars waged the Crusades against Muslims in the Middle East. Bush referred to it as a crusade. Bush was a member of Skull and Bones that gets their symbolism from the Templars. And again, Christianity has that 79 as well. It was a very religious war. Notice Osama bin Laden's also 241, which is the 53rd prime. Religion is 53, just like how that movie Heretic, that's all about religion, released on November 8th last year, the day leaving 53 days left in the year. Religion's also 127, like buildings 1, 2, and 7 in New York came down, and they called it Ground Zero, which is 127, and they called it the New Pearl Harbor, and Pearl Harbor is December 7th. And again, Pentagon construction began on September 11th in 1941, just before Pearl Harbor. But about the big 79 connection with the Society of Jesus, again, Mark Carney, who's being confirmed today, sworn in as the prime minister. Again, Jesuit educated, as we just talked about 5 days ago when he became the person. When it was announced that he would replace Trudeau, we said, well, what do you know? He's Jesuit educated, just like Trudeau was, just like all these world leaders disproportionately are Jesuit educated. So go figure that today is 79 days after Trudeau's birthday. You know, go figure. And in case you missed what we just covered 5 days ago, Mark Carney, like a carnival worker, he was announced on March 9th to be the guy. Canada's 39 when you run it in reverse, 15 when you run it forwards, like Trudeau's dad was the 15th prime minister and also Jesuit educated, and Trudeau became the guy in 2015. And then on January 5th, the headlines emerged that he was going to resign, 1-5. And from Trudeau's birthday to the announcement of his replacement was 74 days later. Mark Joseph Carney, 74. Like Masonic, like a cult, like Jesus, like cross, like Messiah, like gospel, like parables. Like we're talking about the Society of Jesus, and Trudeau has the Jesus birthday. And again, Mark Carney went to St. Francis Xavier High School. Again, both men are Jesuit educated. He takes over as the leader of the Liberal Party at age 59 when Liberal's 59. Again, his birthday is 3/16, like John 3/16. Who else does Mark Carney work for? Oh, the Jesuit-ran World Economic Forum. As we have this trade war going on. And that's the reason for Trudeau's resignation. And this is, again, making money for people at the top and hurting the common man, which is the always ongoing agenda by this tyrant class that controls the governments of the world because the people of the world are too pacified. The tyrants are clever as hell. They know how to keep people parked on their fat asses. In Canada, they got their Molsons and their hockey game on, and they got a box of Jim Hortons donuts right here. Oh my God, is it Jim Horton? That might have been it's Tim Hortons. Sorry, Canada. But tell me it's not true. You got your Tim Hortons over here, your Molson right here, and your hockey game right here. And you haven't won the Stanley Cup since '93. We'll see if the 24th, and keep in mind he is the 24th prime minister. That's got to be symbolic, right? Is it going to be the end of Canada? Is Canada going to get absorbed into the North American Union? The last prime minister is the 24th. It was a countdown like hours in the day. But yeah, about this whole 79 thing too. Again, the Da Vinci Code came out after 9/11. It came out literally exactly 79 weeks after 9/11 happened. And Society of Jesus, 79. You run it the other way, 56. Dan Brown, the author, remember when he turned 56? He turned 56 in 2020, the year that everything was 56. Remember when they busted up the truckers, the trucker convoy in Canada, 56 days from Trudeau's birthday? I do. Everything was 56 across the world with the scandemic. Everything. 56 years after Trump's Jesuit education. This turd right here, Jesuit educated at Holy Cross. Trump went to Fordham like Andrew Cuomo. The 56th governor of New York, Gavin Newsom, 56, said, I'm going to lock down this state because in 8 weeks, which is 56 days, 56% of you will have the virus. And there's a reason he was the first governor to lock down the state. He's got the 56, 142, and 155. Look at the gematria of the cooties. 56, 142, 155, symbolic. They got all the Jesuit pawns in all the right places. And you might have noticed that the only one we didn't cover was 52, like California, the state he governs over. And again, Nancy Pelosi, also out there in California, has that 52, 56 thing. Catholic Jesuit like Gavin, and she was the 52nd Speaker of House. And you see the 133, 52 in her name, like government. Goes on and on and on. All these perfect Catholic pawn pieces made for the political chessboard. But yeah, right when you thought you didn't need another 1968 example of what's going on and continues to go on. And don't forget, that's not everything that happened in 68. Fentanyl was approved by the feds, that opioid, and because of 9/11, we went over and killed the Taliban. We labeled, the U.S. government declared them a terrorist organization worthy of being murdered. And then we went over there and we killed them all. And we brought back the poppy production. And then you had things like, oh my God. I think my mind, it's got to be a lack of sleep thing. Patrick Tillman. I'm starting to forget names that I've never forgotten before. Yesterday it was Donald Rumsfeld. Today it was almost Patrick Tillman. Remember Pat Tillman, the NFL star, played for the Arizona Cardinals, quit the NFL to go fight in the war. Big story after 9/11. And then it came out that he was disgruntled over there. People like Noam Chomsky say they're maybe partnering up with him to write a book about what's going on. Things out on, again, what's that guy that everyone blames everything for? George Soros. George Soros runs Democracy Now!, the independent news network that's funded by him. The reality of Democracy Now!, though, is it probably is the best American news source. It's gotten worse with time. But if you were ever going to get anything halfway real in the news, it was actually George Soros's news outlet, Democracy Now!. And they were covering that story at the time and how he was unhappy that he had to guard poppy fields. He said, I didn't sign up for this, to just guard the U.S. military bringing back poppy production. It's not what I came over here for. But then next thing you know, opioid crisis across the world. Now we're in the heart of it with fentanyl, killing people all over because people just wanted to get, a little Coke, but their bag was full of all this nasty fentanyl and they OD'd. So many stories like this. All this stuff being cut with fentanyl, all these accidental overdoses because people didn't even want fentanyl. But again, that goes back to 1968. And what else goes back to 1968? The Cooties 19, which was declared a pandemic 19 years after 9/11 and the 19 hijackers. Yeah, it's a tired cycle. And by the way, is that not what's being used right now? as the excuse for Trump's tariffs. He's cracking down on Canada and Mexico because of the fentanyl when it's all part of a massively well planned out agenda. Just another BS excuse. And keep in mind, in light of Mark Carney, the festival worker, being announced as the new PM on March 9th, what day is that? The 68th day of the year, right? And he's immediately talking tough on this trade war. 68th day of the year. Here, I'll remind you what they did in my home state, Oregon, last year with the whole fentanyl thing. Again, Oregon legalized fentanyl. Last year was a leap year, so March 8th was the 68th day of the year last year. This year it was March 9th, obviously. But just notice, 3-8, right? 3-8, fentanyl, murder, Oregon, Prince, killing. Of course, Prince Vincent, because ever since he supposedly overdosed from fentanyl, we've heard about it everywhere. And don't forget, who told you Prince was going to die a couple months before he did die? And we said it was going to be very soon. It's all connected to his girlfriend, Vanity, dying the day of the 58th Grammys. Minnesota and Chanhassen are also 38. Chanhassen's Prince's hometown. It's like George Floyd killed on the corner of 38th in Minnesota and supposedly had fentanyl in his system. But yeah, 68th day of the year. Christine Kotek, the governor of Oregon, 68. Again, in 1968, book written by a Yale professor, The Population Bomb, just happens to run 201 pages about why we need to reduce population. It's funny how the biggest killers of the 21st century are the war, Cooties 19, and fentanyl. That all go back to 1968. Same year the Yale professor wrote The Population Bomb. So, okay. Let me see if anything else is going on in the news. The market's rebounding a little bit today, the up and down game. Remember Tulsi Gabbard? You remember how they put her in by the numbers? In case you guys forgot that one, let me just pull that up here. Just remind you who's running the show. Look at this ritual with Tulsi Gabbard right here. So, Tulsi Gabbard, born on the 102nd day of the year. From her last day in office as a member of the House of Representatives until her nomination to be the head of national intelligence 201 weeks later. Again, National Intelligence 201, like the Jesuit Order 201, like Order of Illuminati 201, like Central Intelligence Agency, United States of America 201. And again, those are the words in their logo, just like their motto, the work of a nation, the center of intelligence equals 201. Just like how the CIA was created on the 201st day of the sitting Pope's age, and Catholic Pope equals 201. And some people say CIA means Catholics in action. Isn't that associated with the Illuminati right there? And wearing the red and black in that photo, the Jesuit color scheme. Yeah. So Quincy Jones cause of death revealed that day. We all know what they did to poor Quincy. Okay. I'm seeing if anything else is buzzing right now that we need to cover in real time. All right. And a lot of you guys appreciated the rant video in the car yesterday. Again, you won't see me ranting in my house because I got sweet lady and baby here. That is the deal. But I might do an occasional rant video in the car. A lot of you guys have said, man, that baby's really chilled you out, Zach. Trust me, nothing's really changed about me. I mean, I can monitor my behavior, but every video, I'd probably rather do it as a rant video to show you how I really feel. And again, a lot of you guys, you think that the way you should be is all chilled out and mellowed out. You really shouldn't be. That's exactly how the cabal wants you. Because when you're chilled out and mellowed out, you're probably sitting there with your Molson and you got your Tim Hortons or your blunt or whatever you got, your smoke. You're watching the TV, you're chilling, and you're getting ruled over by tyrants, So, and I always find it funny, all the people come around here, Zach, you've been here for 11 years and the world hasn't changed. It's like, is that a real comment? Is it my fault the world hasn't changed? What would have happened if we didn't have a bunch of inept losers, and they'd gotten behind what I said? The world would have changed. Can't put it on me. Dopey people with their dopey comments. Somebody left a comment on the video saying, I thought you weren't going to rant around the baby anymore. It's like, did you see a baby in the car? Or did you see a guy in his car by himself driving down the road? Okay. If anybody else has anything they want me to cover, now's the time to hop on and let me know or drop it in the chat. I got my eyes on the chat. And by the way, about that Andrew Wilson, character that's pushed, on YouTube as some kind of debater, guru, celebrity, which he's not at all. Man, there's some people that have really exposed him and his wife that they pretend to be Christians. Did you know that she's been in multiple marriages? She continued to get divorced because she'd get pregnant by other men while already in a marriage, including Andrew Wilson. Andrew Wilson got his wife pregnant while she was married to somebody else, causing a divorce. And then by the time he got her pregnant for the second time, they had a shotgun wedding. It's like, This is the online Christian debater guru, huh? Again, it's obvious that these people are frauds unless you're brain dead, which most people are. Also, what's funny is, he's trying to get Sam Cedar's attention. Sam Cedar has a video just making fun of how stupid he is. If you want to look up the video that Sam Cedar just did about Andrew Wilson and how dumb he is, he took a clip of him that exposed why he couldn't follow anything I was saying. This guy doesn't know anything about anything when it comes to basic mathematics. Sam Cedar's just laughing his ass off about how dumb he is. He's like, listen to this guy talk about marginal tax rates, showing you he has no clue what a marginal tax rate means. Here's Andrew Wilson verbatim. He goes, Sam Cedar's calling for 90% marginal tax rate. So, for example, that means if you made $3 million, you would only be able to keep $300,000. For anyone who goes along with that and goes, oh, that's right. That means you also don't know anything about anything. Marginal tax rates are exactly what we have right now. The first group of money you make up to whatever it's set at, $11,000, you pay 10% taxes on. You make $25,000, it jumps up to 15% for that money between 11 and 25. And then after that, it goes up to, 20%, whatever it's set up here. This is how dumb this guy is. This guy's supposedly some political expert and doesn't even know what marginal tax rates are. God, these people are brain dead, and they're being promoted on the tube as some kind of intelligent people. Some type of people that have some say in politics, and they don't even understand marginal tax rates. Again, the last time I think there were 90% marginal tax rates or anywhere near that was back in the time of FDR. And again, to me, that does seem extreme and excessive. I don't think that's right. I'm not saying I would care for that myself, but I understand what it means. It doesn't mean your whole income is taxed at 90%. It means once you reach a certain threshold, like once you make $5 million, all money in excess of $5 million is taxed at 90%. So yeah, then if you made an additional $3 million beyond $5 million, you would only keep $300,000 of that. The argument for those kind of tax rates is that if you look back at how the average person was doing in society, the average person was doing a lot better. But I don't know. I still don't think it's right to be taxed at that kind of rate. To me, it seems insane. Not that most people will ever make more than $5 million in a year, but yeah, again, when you're going around calling yourself a political guru and some kind of expert, and you don't even know what marginal tax rates are, it just shows you're like an incompetent moron. So, Andrew Wilson, fake Christian, doesn't really know anything about anything. The only thing that's really propping him up are all the troll bot accounts in his comment section and the YouTube algorithm who pushes a lot of shills and fakes and phonies. So, what's up, King Rich?
Hey, what's up, man? I just wanted to add on to the plane crash ritual they just did that I talked to you about yesterday.
Okay.
He died in I don't know if you noticed, but he died in Slovenia. You just write it out equals 97. But that's not the only,
Perfect.
yeah, that's not the only piece that matters. It also equals 34. Can go on with them dirty.
And he died 34 days before his birthday, like murder
Right,
and pirates.
right,
The
right,
plural are 34.
right, exactly. But if you just run the alphabetic order in reverse, Slovenia equals 119. That reminds us of September 11th. You run it the other way, it's 47. You could also say that
Pirates.
47 weeks.
Pirates is 34 and 47. Trust me, we play those numbers all the time with the Pittsburgh Pirates, and they win all the time.
Right. But also just to mention, the World Trade Centers, right? 47 stories tall. Osama bin Laden equals 47. But where he died at, Velika Planina equals 127. And then when you write it out with Slovenia at the end of it, equals 127. Like ground zero equals 127. Like on 9/11, buildings 1, 2, and 7 fell. Again, Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 12/7. But remember, Osama bin Laden, he died 53 days after his birthday. You write out Carl Lundstrom, it equals 53. His surname alone has that 53 in it as well. And when you write out terrorists, it equals 53. Again, think about how 9/11 was blamed on terrorism, right? Terrorists. But not only that, I wanted to add another story in here because no doubt that this is a ritual. And no doubt it's synced up with Donald Trump. I'm going to bring it up real quick. Let me bring up my notes here. But just look it up. This guy, Garrett Bruno, supposedly he ended up dying. And they had a report he died at age 33. And they said he was a gay MAGA Trump supporter. And of course, the word gay, G the 7th letter, A the 1st, Y the 25th equals 33. He died at age 33. That means
I just want to add that literally, if you are a Trump supporter, by default, you are gay automatically because you like getting pounded in your gaping butthole. Point blank, period. You are gay by default if you support Trump. Go ahead.
Exactly, yeah. And just to add on to that, I mean, if you support any of these political puppets, you are gay because you like getting fucked in the ass and with no Vaseline. You're getting fucked with no Vaseline in my Ice Cube voice. But anyway, this guy, Garrett Bruno, he died at age 33. They had a report that he was a gay MAGA supporter. Again, gay 33. The word sex is 33. But just write out Garrett Bruno and Donald Trump. Just write it out. It literally overlaps. And
what is it I need to write out again?
Garrett Bruno.
Garrett Bruno.
Yeah. Equals 159 and 60, like Donald Trump, who just won the
he was awaiting trial for the second-degree
murder.
Yeah,
for an 83-year-old. For an 83-year-old, right?
Come
and he
on,
died
man.
on March 4th. He died on March 4th.
An election. This goes with election, right? Elections got the 83, and that day came out weird 4-3, and that's the old inauguration day. Remember last year what they did on March 4th was the day that they reinstated Trump on the Colorado ballot and election 38 and 43 like Colorado is.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And again, Society of Jesus equals 191, the 43rd prime. But yeah, I mean, yeah, and just there's more to it, Make America Great Again equals 163, the 38th prime. Florida, probably died in Florida. Florida 38 and 43, like killing. But yeah, I mean, what a joke. What a joke. And they had to say Orange, like they had to report Orange County, the Orange County medical examiners, Orange equals 33. Think about it. Orange goon, Donald Trump. But yeah, I mean, what a joke. What a joke.
It is a joke. It is a joke.
Yeah, and it's a joke that we have just groups of people trying to say that what we're saying is bullshit, when literally this shit just proves itself every day, every goddamn day.
Yeah, and again, like you said, there's always more too. If you want to dig even deeper, you can add on to it and improve the story for. Like I didn't even take the time to throw in the Slovenia part of the town, but yeah, it supports it that much more.
Yeah, and it just shows that it's paying. Obviously, look at that. It's paying tribute to 9/11. It's paying tribute to Osama bin Laden, this character given to us by the same media.
Something they just continue to do over and over,
Yeah,
like ha ha ha, we're still getting away with it. You still don't get the jokes. It's all over
exactly.
your head.
Exactly. It's a joke. It's all a joke. It's a numerical joke. It's not even just a regular joke. It's a numerical joke, and people don't
I
see it.
remember when CNN, it was probably 15 years ago now, they had new photos of Osama bin Laden in his cave. And in his cave, he had the bookshelves with all the books on it. It's like, come on, man. Hold on.
Yeah, and people still believe the official story that a man in a cave did 9/11. People still believe that. It's sad. Sad.
Osama's getting Amazon deliveries to his cave that nobody can find.
And just what are the odds of that? This man's born on the 103rd day of the year and he dies on 10/3. I mean, and we were just talking about that yesterday. What do you think about Pan Am 103 as far as terrorism goes, right? Pan Am 103. Jesuits 103,
Yeah. And look at what happened this year on March 10th with the dead people. There were two of them. There were the Steelers player, and then
Alex Jones
broke the news about his reporter.
Right.
I'm spelling Jamie wrong. I guess it was spelled like that because the way his name was spelled was 103, like he broke the news on 10/3.
Look at it. I mean, announced on 10/3, dies on 3/9, 167, 39th prime.
Yeah.
I mean, it couldn't get any more obvious than that.
And then it was the Steelers player right before Trump announces his still tariffs. So.
Yep. Another joke that people don't get. It just goes over people's heads every day. But yeah, that's all I had. I mean, that's all I figured out. These additions.
You're probably too young to remember this guy, Oliver Miller. He was one of the fatter players in the NBA. He's dead at 54.
Yeah, son.
And he made his name with the Suns. So you get the joke of him being dead at 54?
Son 54. Yep.
And look at what day he died. Died on the 71st day of the year, like Sol Invictus equals 71. Again, that's to remember the Sun's birthday.
They called him the Big O too, and that equals 123. Died on March 12th.
They think we were in 12/3. Yeah, I see that.
Yep. Figured I'd point that out, but yeah. Again, Sun 54, Jesuit Order 54. Yeah, same.
And he played for Sol Invictus is also 46, like Phoenix is.
Yeah, Phoenix. He played for the Phoenix Suns. Yep. He also died 25 days before his birthday. He wore number 25. He's dead in 2025. Write out Phoenix again. That it equals 26. You could also say that a span of 26 days from his upcoming birthday too.
Yeah, Phoenix and Suns are both 26.
Yeah. Yep. Super obvious. And that guy.
Look at how they got to point out that he played for 9 years. 9 years and dead at 54. 9 years in the NBA.
Yep. Telling you, man. Same old shit, same old numbers, same old patterns. We continue to talk about every day, every year, every day, every week. All the time.
He was born on 4/6, like Phoenix, 46, like Sol Invictus, dead on the 71st day of the year.
Right. Yep. And that they could be in 6/4, kill 64.
Yeah, or sacrifice.
Yep. So. Yeah, that's figured out. I add to it, Zach. Appreciate the good work and. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it, man.
All right. Great additions as always, King Rich. You have a good day, man.
All right, you too.
Yeah. And you know what people say? They'll say, well, he was fat. He was fat. Meanwhile, Fat Joe still walks the earth. Big pun, gone on the 38th day of the year a long time ago. I'm going to pull up his basketball reference real quick and see if there's anything else that jumps out about it. Oliver Miller. He made his NBA debut on the day leaving 54 days left in the year. Remember, that was the day the two-time Cy Young winner, Roy Halladay, died. Baseball is also a big 54 sport. Died off the coast of Holiday, Florida. Roy Halladay did. But yeah, debut on the day leaving 54 days left in the year. Dead at 54. Let me see what the Suns were doing Did the Suns play that day? The Suns did play that day. They got beat by the Rockets. They fell to 30-36. They played their 66th game of the year the day the Big O died. Arizona, for the record, is 39 like the Big O. Phoenix is one of the two big cities that are truly on the 33rd parallel are Phoenix and Atlanta. A lot of people like to say Dallas is on the 33rd parallel. Not really. It's on the 32nd parallel. Its suburbs sprawl into the 33rd, but it's like Los Angeles, too. Los Angeles sprawls so far that it does sprawl with its suburbs into the 33rd, but it's not really on the 33rd either. Only Phoenix and Atlanta are the true 33rd parallel cities. And they're both named after ancient civilizations, too. The Phoenicians, Atlantis. But yeah, it's sad how they do it over and over, man. Just nonstop ritual sacrifice and just paying tribute to their sun god. You guys seen this show Beauty in Black on Netflix? Beauty in Black. That new Tyler Perry show. It is it's like the most evil show there ever was. It is just wicked. The whole show. It's just every character in it's wicked as hell. Every scene is wicked. The way they talk. That show would have had what was the rating back in the day above our NC-17? That show would have had an NC-17 rating. It's got scenes in there that look like you're literally watching a gay porno. But the reason I'm bringing up this show is because, again, it's about a powerful family who owns the police, who has hit squads that do killing for them because they own the police. They can just, get away with murder. They got police officers that are going to make sure nobody gets to the bottom of what really happened. They're going to pin the crime on patsies. They're going to make sure the real story never gets out. I mean, it's not the first show or series or movie to allude to these things, but again, the proles, the lame brains, the lemmings, they'll say like, that stuff's in you watch too many movies and TV shows. It's like, don't you think that's the reason that they actually put this in the movies and the TVs, to make it seem like it's just entertainment? I see some super chats. Thank you, Chris. As always, appreciate your continued generosity and support. Cornell, thank you ×2. Can I call in for questions? Oh, yeah, and you just came in. Yeah, anybody can come in. I dropped the link. What's up, Cornell?
Can you hear me?
Oh, let me make sure that the audio is not echoing. Yeah, you're good. Go ahead.
Okay, I had just a quick question. As I've been following you for a while, and I've seen other people's work and all that, and with these numbers and stuff, do they have help with AI, and have they had help for a long time? Because some of this stuff, it seems very, like, it would be hard for humans to be able to control all of it, and then some of it seems like it's almost like manifested into existence with some of the predictive programming and stuff.
I think the answer is that it is a bit of both. I do imagine they're using computers to keep all the programming straight and coordinate. Again, I mean, just imagine they have a database of everyone on their celebrity payroll, so they can calculate, his number's up, it's the perfect time for his ritual. I think it is something like that, and I do think there's some kind of spiritual wickedness going on, too. I think it's a combination of both. It's just like, I mean, look at what they encoded in the word computer and the word internet. They encoded literally 666. One of the most famous computer companies in the world, where almost half the world's populace has their product in their pocket. Apple, they have the bite out of the fruit, like Genesis, which also equals 666. And they priced their first consumer computer at $666.66. So, like I said, I think it's a combination of both.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I mean, especially with like, with Trump, like these very powerful people at top. Do they just have the bloodlines to be able to be put in those places, or do they fit the dates, or those manufactured?
Well, definitely bloodlines. I mean, your own media has told you that if you've been paying attention. They show you how every president, I think, except for one, is related to royalty.
Yeah. No, it's pretty crazy. So, where do you think everything goes from now? Is there a plan for them? I mean, what is your thoughts on what's
Greater
going
and
to
greater
happen?
control, man. That's what they push for every day. Greater and greater control over humanity. You're going to give up more rights and liberties. You're going to submit more and more to their surveillance state. And I mean, we're almost to the part where there's literally game over. You don't have any way to fight back. You got a camera on you at all times. The AI is keeping tabs on everything. I mean, we're almost there.
So does that population control come into effect then? Did any of the thin
Well,
the
when you say
herd?
it's already been going on, population control, I mean, I think that's been
That's
going on for a
true.
long time, but I think it will get a lot more severe. Yeah, I think it'll get a lot more severe. They don't need people. When they don't need people to perform the jobs and functions, what's the point of having them around?
That's true. Especially with the AI, there's not much use for a lot of
I mean,
us
you
for
don't think
them.
they already gave up on humanity? Take a look at the youth. Do you live in the United States of America? Take a look at the youth. They're dumber than ever. They're
Yeah,
fatter than ever. They all look like they're about to kill over from a heart attack, and they're only 9 years old. I mean, does it look like they don't have plans for this generation? That you can already the writing's on the wall.
yeah, that's true. It's almost like they have already set up our own death camps. We've done it to ourselves with food. I mean, they provide the poison and we just kind of consume it. So yeah, I could see humanity dwindling. At least the ones that are not awoke to this craziness. So the with one other question I had, and then I'll let you go because I'm kind of going in circles now. Is with the gematria, and it fundamentally goes back to Kabbalah, right? Kabbalah is like the
Yes,
root of it, right? Does that go back to the Chaldean, kind of that
of course.
Babylonian?
Yeah,
That's where it kind of started.
of
So
course.
do you believe that came from the spiritual entities gave it to humanity, this knowledge to be able to
That's
manipulate, or is
that's
that?
a possible thing, or it's possible that people just figured it out. Just figured it out. One of the two. Who knows?
And then yeah, so your faith is basically you believe in a creator. That's pretty much uh, your thought.
Yeah, I think if your eyes are open, you see evidence of creator. I think creator sends us signs. Some people would call them coincidences, but if your eyes are open, you realize that's beyond coincidence.
Yeah,
I think that's about as much as a creator interview. And I don't know if it's one creator or multiple creators. I mean, I don't claim to know any of that stuff, and I don't know why people try to claim to know things they possibly can't know. But I do think that whatever creation is, it does offer us signs if our eyes are open, trying to guide us. And I think outside of that, that's as much as creator really ever intervenes in this world.
so
The
the
idea of deism that there was a creator, but they mostly just don't intervene in the world. I think that's correct because look at all the evil that's allowed to go on. You know,
yeah, yeah, I definitely, it's weird since I've kind of followed you for a while, and I was born and raised in Portland, so we have that Portland root connection there. But since following you, I with these numbers and stuff, I have a question, and maybe you can answer it. I see certain numbers all the time, like 88, 9/11. Those just pop up everywhere to me. Is that just because my subconscious is looking for it? But it almost seems like everything in my life connects to those numbers.
well, I mean, I don't know what your birth numerology is.
Five
There are
one,
numbers that can definitely be
five
attached.
one eight, 5183. So I am born
Did you
on
say
the
May 1st, 83?
yes.
Oh, you're older than me by 2 months and 20 days.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. We yeah. That's what I forgot. We're also close to. Yeah, I went to Franklin High School. I don't know if you did. You go
Okay.
to, I don't know what high school you went to, but
I
yeah.
was in Vancouver when I went to high school. I didn't go to high
Oh,
school in Portland.
I'm living in Vancouver right now. I live in right off of No Plain,
Well, I
Chocolaw.
went to Mountain View.
Okay, that's cool.
It's a lot nicer school now. They rebuilt the thing, but anyway.
Yeah.
Uh,
Anyways, yeah, I just see those numbers all the time, and it's almost like there's some kind of supernatural thing. I don't know. It's just really strange of certain things, that circumstances in my life, and kind of come back to those numbers. I'm like, whoa, that's kind of trippy.
your
Unless
birth
there's,
numerology is 9. You're a 9,
I'm a nine.
which doesn't exactly go with 88. But
No, just maybe that might be because something I've seen lately with Trump and all the 88s that kind of pop up with him and the Twin Towers.
because
And
that is the way the mind works, right? If you have a number in your mind, it's just like, if anyone's ever bought a car, you know how it is. It's like you buy the car, and they're like, damn, does everybody drive this car? I see this car everywhere now. And it didn't seem like that until you got the car. So,
well, there's like when you were talking one time about your house was 201, right? Didn't you say something about like
this house I'm in right now is 201. Yeah.
201, and that was just random chance, right?
It was really weird. Yeah, it was really weird. So,
all right. Well, thank you for taking my call. I appreciate it. I know there's other questions I can ask, but I'll leave it for another day. But I really appreciate you answering questions. You're very knowledgeable, and I really appreciate what you do. I just wish more people would just wake up. It's just right in their face every single day. I think it's just cognitive dissonance. They don't want to believe it. They want to believe they just love the matrix they're living in, you know. They don't want to get out.
Indeed. Well, I appreciate your generosity. Thank you very much.
Oh, no problem. You have a good day, man.
Yeah, you too.
Take care.
Bye. All right. The link to join was pinned as the top comment. It should still be there. If anybody else wanted to come on and share something, now is the time. I got about 20 more minutes before I need to hop off. Let me put my eyes on the chat real quick and see if there's anything else you guys got. It's not a call-in number. It's the link. You just join, and if you don't want your camera on, you just turn your camera off, and then all people can do is hear your voice like a phone call. I think a big problem with society is people want to pretend to know things they don't know. You see that all the time in all kinds of people. Religious people are a great example. Flat earthers are a great example. And again, I don't want to get into the whole flat earth thing because they're so annoying. But, just religious people always want to pretend to know things that are impossible to know. And that's the magic of the world we live in. It's, again, where creation comes from is, do you accept the scientific explanation of Big Bang? To me, it's very religious. An explosion from nothing created all this over a very long period of time. It is similar to Genesis too, where God appears from nowhere and speaks the world into existence over a number of days. It is. It's just like our creation and where we came from is a great mystery. And that's why I think the thing to do is just seek answers and try to understand as much as you possibly can. And when it comes to spirituality, be as well studied as you possibly can and see what resonates with you and what evidence collects in your own life that makes the most sense out of things. We had Rusty Roberts hop in and then D26. We'll do Rusty and the D26. What's up, Rusty?
Hey, man. Good to be on.
Yeah, what's up?
I just have a couple things I wanted to touch on. I've been on following you for about a year now. I'm a huge fan of everything. I was referred to you from someone else. I've been part of the truth movement for a long time. So as the Gematria thing is always, I would say, like upper level knowledge when it comes to this. And that's kind of one of the things I wanted to talk to you about as far as just the movement in general, because I've referred people to you before, and then just, people have such, as they have such a hard time. You can't just skip. If you're 5 years old, you can't skip to college, so when people get to Gematria, it's not going to make any sense to them because they don't have the background of understand the history of who the Jesuits are, what Freemasonry is, so maybe I'll send someone, like a link, and and then they're turned off by you, they're turned off by everything. And it's like, it's just this vicious cycle.
Right.
So, I've been struggling with this for years. And I couldn't be more impressed with you, learning your story. Your two books are my favorite books, but I think we as the movement, like, if we're trying to introduce people to numerology and all there are, they're just some idiots that like coincidences and want to get a tarot card reading, they're already off on the wrong foot. And then let me just ask you a question, like, how did they get started doing this? And I guess that's rhetorical. That with secret societies, the Jesuit order is a military. And it's just, I mean, I've turned on 5 minutes of your debate with Andrew, and all I wanted to do is beat his fucking ass, man. Like I couldn't even handle on it. You were on there for hours, and it's like, this is what we're doing as the truth. And I guess, just the main thing is like, we got to be forming our own secret society. I mean, you fight fire with fire.
What Andrew shows is just how well funded the opposition is. I mean, he made $10,000 that night and he didn't offer anything intelligent. It was just like being an ass.
I mean, exactly. And you had, I watched you had that guy call in and he said a key word is like, Zach, you were talking to a federal agent. Like, this is true controlled opposition. Like, these are funded bullshit truth, like fake, controlled opposition. Joe Rogan, the Tates, like all of these people. You got these podcasts that, they interview whores, and then these guys get a good following. And, people want to see a change from the liberalism in America. And where do they go to? They go to the controlled opposition, and we're still stuck in the same spot. And this is where we've been for hundreds of years. So, and again, like you were an educator, you know damn well that adults, adults' nervous system is not plastic. They are not going to learn anything new. So if they don't know who rules the world, there's no way in hell they're going to pick up on any sort of gematria. And like I said, to them, numerology is just like going to a psychic. Like, and a couple of days ago, maybe that was yesterday, that girl was calling in. It's like, man, I had to turn the stream off when you were talking to her. Like, that was so painful. Just your conversation with her was so unbelievably painful to listen to, of just how unbelievably ignorant. But it's also an example of my point. Like, if she doesn't understand who the Jesuits are, which there's a million history books that have nothing to do with numerology or gematria or Kabbalah, talking about whichever pope that was in the 1800s that, outlawed the suppressed the Jesuits. It's like, people like, this is our nation. These are the people who rule over us. Like, ultimately, the gematria is just, it's going to be so far out of people's heads when they don't know who these people are in the first place.
Right. It's difficult. You have an ignorant populace that doesn't know much about anything, and then you're trying to give them something that I guess is halfway complex to a lot of people. In a sense, it is elementary. And I would say that if we introduce this to 100 adults in the U.S., I think at least 5 get it, but the other 95 probably not. So it is. I mean, it's difficult, but what do? Do you just throw up the white flag and just go down with
No. I mean, I think we got to go to a different. The truth movement is not the United States. It's a global. I mean, I hate America.
Do you think it's like, I don't know if you watched yesterday's stream, do you think it's just ranting about just the obvious with passion about how dumb you got to be going along with all these lies without even really bringing up the numbers? I mean, is that more the lane?
Absolutely. I mean, it's not like, the founders of, modern day Freemasonry. I mean, look at Freemasons. If you're a low level Freemason, you have no idea that it's a global organization. They never do. They go to lodge meetings. They think that they're doing something that's pro-America, pro-society. They have no idea that it's a global movement. Like,
yeah,
we have
again,
to go into the back door to get in people's heads. Like, we have to figure out, and I mean, it's not even us. Like, it's going to be our kids. We have to train. We have to figure out, like, I'm too educated. I've been trying to educate stupid people my whole life. I gave up. I'm retired. I don't have to deal with that bullshit anymore. This is what moves me. And there's no way people can't do simple math. Everyone is that girl who called in, whatever that was yesterday or the day before.
Right. She was everyone. Yeah, she was. Good example.
There is like that was just bad as one of your debates, man. Like all I wanted to do was beat the shit out of Andrew. And I was just like, I couldn't have felt more bad for you. And I'm just wondering, it's like, Zach, why do you even debate people like this? It was the most painful thing. Like 5 minutes, I couldn't handle it. And I look, it was like, what, 6 hours? Like, how long was that?
It was way too long. So.
But I mean, they did it with secret societies. So we aren't going to do anything. I mean, we're going to be lucky to be alive in a few years. Like we if we want anything to do with this, like the actual movement of eliminating these people from control of the entire world, like it's more than.
Well, you just said what needs to happen. And again, the first time the FBI came out to my house was back in 2018. I'll never forget the date. It was August 21st, 2018. It was the anniversary of the film Agent 47 coming out. And the FBI agents out there and making false accusations, saying something. Again, what he accused me of, I laughed at him. I said, I've never said that in my life. And then he proved that I'd never said that in my life. But then later that day, he sent me in an email what he was concerned about. And it was a video from that I'd posted in the beginning of 2017 about how the only way to stop what's going on is to go to DC with our pitchforks and maybe some things that got some hot lead in them and burn that city to the ground and all the tyrants in it. And again, I was within my rights to say that, but that is what got the FBI out there. And honestly, I mean, again, these people do need to be eliminated, and something needs to be restored in its place that's a lot better and a lot more honest and a lot more simple and something that people can agree to and get behind. And if that doesn't happen, we are finished. And that's the thing. I don't think that you're ever going to see that happen because people are so pacified and they got their religious indoctrination and they think that's not their place and they're waiting for the man out of the sky to come down from the clouds and save the day, which is never going to happen.
I mean, that is a perfect point, how they grabbed a hold of Christianity to convince all Christians that they can sit back and be passive because Jesus is going to come back and save us. You know,
it's a children's story. It's a children's story.
They have written all of the religions. Like every single one. They control everything.
That's why we're ruled over by a religious priest class. These people know how to control people's minds. It's that simple.
I mean, and they're a military. They created technology. So instead of us trying to pound gematria into people's heads that probably can't even write down 1 + 1 = 3, like they cannot do it. So we have to figure out some other way. And like I said, like it's going to be our kids. Like our kids we're going to have kids that enter into the military to take it over. Like, because they run the military. You say something like, you're not supposed to say, you got federal agents knocking on your door and you got a car, running through your house on, and you yourself, you're lucky to be alive, man.
Well, I mean, they're definitely.
I'm not saying do not stop what you're doing. I need you. We need you. But we have to, and like I said, this is a global problem. The Jesuits are in 112 countries, and maybe the countries that they're not in, they've already bombed and they've destroyed their libraries. These people don't even know their history. Like this is bigger than. But like people just don't get it. They see the soap opera of the news and they pick one side. They think one political party is right and left, and they pick one side on it, and they're all just, that's not what America was founded on. Our people were founded on fighting these people. And it's like, how did they delete that from history? And
there's quotes about that from smarter politicians of the past about the risk of people starting to love their political parties more than their own country. I mean, you see it here, and you see how people are just so wrapped up in these totally sold out political parties, and you just can't believe how invested they are. It's like, you can't see that they're both selling us down the drain.
I mean, that's the point, is they can't see. So we have to figure out a way instead of, and I'm not just saying like you and your teachings, like the entire truth movement globally has to get together.
I agree. And
like
that's
we have to
that was my
somehow,
biggest
if it's a compromise of like whatever. We need soldiers globally.
People do not want to cooperate and work together. I was totally shocked with that. I was trying to cooperate with everybody when I came here as the small guy and new on the scene and sharing information, and people whose channels that I respected just coming into the truth community and a new YouTuber. And all I got back was scorn and ridicule and, oh, this is the dumbest thing I ever heard of. And I was beside myself. I was showing all these people who are exposing Sandy, HOOK, the 112 thing with Adam Lanza, and all I was getting back was people making fun of it. PK Truth. I was blown away by how he got all this surveillance footage for the Boston bombing. He's making videos about how dumb I am and how weird. Oh, who cares about this 112 thing? Sounds like schizo loony. I was just like, really? That's your response? You really got all that 112 stuff?
Back to what that. I don't know the caller, but I'd heard his voice before when you were talking to Andrew, and he called him a federal agent. It was like, more than if someone says the word schizo, that's a red flag for a whatever you want to call it, a Fed or a controlled op. You research Zachary Hubbard.
People are brainwashed, though. A lot of just
it means their job is to discredit you.
My sister thinks I'm schizo when I talk about this. She's not a Fed. She's programmed. She's
programmed with that word. But those idiots, like people were typing, like the comments on your debate with Andrew. It was ridiculous, but that is a red flag of a word, like thrown around, because if you're white and you say something, you are labeled an anti-Semite or a white supremacist, no matter what. Just like the word conspiracy theorist came out of the what is the JFK Commission? The Warren Commission. Like those words, people are programmed, but then they're also the people that program, like those words get thrown out on, and look at you. You've been labeled with this, you can't teach anymore, Like I couldn't be more impressed with you and what you are still doing today. Like, we're not on keyboards. Like whether we want to be or not, we're fucking soldiers. When I learned who ruled the world, it completely destroyed my mind. There's nothing I could do. And I'll never be the same. Like I can't fit into the population like I used to. But like I said, like this isn't about Gematria. This is about right and wrong. And people can't understand Gematria because they don't understand our history in the first place. Like they think that we came over on the Mayflower and we cooked turkeys and mashed potatoes with the natives, and that didn't happen. That was a complete Jesuit scam, and the Mayflower was a slave ship just like all the other ones.
Yeah.
People don't understand that. They don't understand that it's a complete slap in our face that the truth community said something about Christopher Columbus, and now that same day is now called Indigenous People Day, which is even worse.
And for the record, look at what day he supposedly died in history. The Jesuit Cannonball Day. He brought the gunpowder over here. Come on.
I'm just saying, like, we gotta, I don't know. You've been going strong a long time. Like, I love your content, your books. I read them over and over and over again, but I can't send those books to people. Like they don't get it. Like, adults in America, they may as well be illiterate, and we may be in internment camps and gulags in the short future. Like that's no joke. It could happen.
Yeah, no, it absolutely could happen. And that's the thing too. Everyone thinks that it can't happen. It's like, why do you think it can't happen? Every empire in the past has fallen. You can see this one's falling. They're literally making Hollywood movies about the fall of America right now. They can't stop making enough of them. And people, they're like, oh, it's just entertainment. It's like, listen, history repeats itself. You can see how it's repeating itself right now. You look out at your society. Where's any sign right now that this looks like a country that's in it for the long haul? Like I said, look at the average 9-year-old, fat and retarded. You think that's a future right there? Come on.
Not only that, like every empire that has fallen has the social engineering that we have, an increase of sexual liberation of women, increase of all sorts of gay, weird sorts of stuff. Like that is part of our programming. Like you can't deny that that's happening. That happened in Germany. It's the same thing that happened in Russia with the Bolsheviks, like same stuff. Like it's all happening here. I travel internationally all the time. Like, no, this isn't happening anywhere else. Like this is America. It's our people that are getting destroyed by the school system. Like, and just like you said, these kids are all vax damaged with all the vaccine schedule. Like I have a buddy that, he's a teacher and he's got like a 9 like, I don't know, kids that are, he would not allow his kids to go to school. And then these kids want to socialize and they hang out with these other kids that are on their, you know, have 10-year-olds with already 50, 60 vaccines. And these kids are basically developmentally disabled.
Well,
I mean,
that's happened too. Well, the kids that used to be in the special ed classroom have now been integrated into the normal classroom because, again, a lot of people just are Special Olympians now. It's so common. And that's exactly what I'm saying. So, and
I mean,
they make the curriculum so that you have to teach to the lowest common denominator. So what's that do for the whole classroom? It sets the whole classroom back. This is what's been going on. This is the trajectory of things.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, we got to, I mean, I love what you do, but it's upper division. I mean, not like I don't have a YouTube channel. I'm not you, but like, we as people, like, we have to figure out how to, like, I'm not tuning in to Zachary Hubbard anymore. I am part of a global movement. We have to make a secret society somehow. Like, somehow we have to do it. Like, this doesn't have to do with, even though it's proof, like celebrity deaths and, you know, bullshit news events that are fake, just like a soap opera or professional wrestling. Like we need soldiers on the ground throughout the world. That's what our brain power has to come into. Like, somehow, if I mean, you know what I mean.
I do know what you mean. Friend, I appreciate the call and all your thoughts. I got to let a couple more people get on here, and then I got to hop off because I'm running out of time. But yeah, Rusty, you're right. I mean, the time is now to do something. Everything you've expressed, I've been thinking the same thing. Have I done Gematria for too long, and it's not having the impact I wanted? Does the message need to be condensed to reach more basic-minded people? I think it does. So,
I mean, those are our soldiers, and they're not going to get this. They can't. They're not smart enough. This is upper division stuff.
At the same time, it's not that complicated, but yeah, I hear what you're saying. So,
I mean, these people think that the Super Bowl is not rigged. Thanks, man.
All right, we got D26. What's up, D26? D26,
Hey.
I had a conversation a while back that, you know, for the sake of your future and the things you needed to do, you were going to fall off.
I didn't understand the question. What are you saying?
Just go ahead. What do you want to say today?
Okay, so I had 4 topics. I just wrote it down. First of all, I was not going to talk about it, but I was not going to talk about this. But when I joined, someone mentioned the case of the deadliest attack in UK, Pan Am 103. Someone mentioned that for a plane crash.
Yeah, we talked about it many times over the years.
I didn't know that, so apologies for that ignorance. I didn't make that connection. But did you know it is connected to Gaddafi?
I'd forgotten that piece.
Did you know that Gaddafi's full name is 1201?
Gaddafi's name is 201, huh?
Yeah, because we never talked about that, so I just like lost that trail of thoughts. And I just double checked in your website. You have never mentioned that, so I thought maybe we must have never talked about it.
I did a lot on Gaddafi, like probably back in 2014, 2015 when NATO stomped him out, but I have not talked much about Gaddafi for a long time. Last time I talked about Gaddafi, I wouldn't even have been on the 201 thing. That starts to make a lot of sense why that happened to him back in the time of old Bummer.
His birthday is also October 20th, I think. So 2010. His birthday is similar as, I think, Kamala Harris, 20th of October.
Okay. Yeah.
And also, I didn't know if they had a birthday or something, or they just redacted that part. But the other part I think I was going to ask you, it's nothing related to Gematria, but I just wanted so this was the only Gematria piece I wanted to ask. But lately, since I've been working way too much literally on my chair and on my desk, I'm hearing to a lot of, I just put a lot of videos on the queue on YouTube. I keep them running on the background. Sometimes it's your videos, sometimes other videos. Sometimes it's other Zachary, the guy that I was mentioning, Asman Gold. So I watch a lot of other videos in the background. And I'm hearing this constant news about the United States trying to annex Canada or something. I don't know. It started as a joke, but now people are saying that it might happen. We never know. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, they're putting a lot of economic pressure on Canada. If they destroy their economy, they're going to need help from their southern neighbor, us. And for years, they've been talking about the idea this North American Union as the New World Order grows. That could be what's coming out of this, the purposeful chaos to bring about more unison between the countries of North America. I mean, it seems to be what's going on. So,
North American Union, as in the three countries: Canada, U.S., and Mexico.
correct.
So I don't know. I'm not. So don't quote me on this, but I will have to double check. Have you watched the Hunger Games movie? The four movies.
I have seen a bit of the Hunger Games. I remember I was researching it a few years back in light of what's going on. I'd have to go back
I
and
think
revisit my notes.
they had those things like the map looked very much like a broken piece of the North American continent. I'm talking about physicality, like the geography. So I don't know much, but yeah, they had those things, and the rhetoric about the entire show having 13 districts, and nobody talks about the 13th district, how that was like destroyed because they revolted, which is very similar to that the show that I mentioned, the Netflix show, The 100, and how they had those 13 stations in the space, and the 13th one was destroyed. So I was doing this research about a lot of shows and series that are like have these 13 numerology,
I
like the
wrote
13.
about the 100 in my first book because and I didn't even see the whole show, but I saw enough little bits and pieces to see all the symbolism in that. My wife really liked that show,
Yeah,
the
you
100.
mentioned that, so I would say that it's a good show. I think I would say a good show that I would recommend. But yeah, that was my question regarding that. And again, regarding the Greenland thing, uh, I don't know how many people know this, because since I grew up watching a lot of documentaries, like from history and geography, I knew at a young age that maybe from strategic reasons, one day US might annex Greenland, or they just will take that land as hold to control the entire Atlantic Ocean. Maybe that was the thought that I had back in high school, or maybe before that. I think because it made more sense for them to control Greenland, and it became more. I was sure about that after I watched the movie. I think Gerard Butler's movie, Greenland. Did you know about that?
I haven't seen it.
It came out in 2020, peak COVID time. That's why did not a lot of people don't even know about that movie. So um, it came out at the time when there were like talks about a meteor strike, and the movie literally has a meteor. It's everything about a meteor strike, and how Jared Butler's family manages to reach to Greenland, which is where the governments have their bunkers mainly. Uh, I think all the major countries like G20 countries, they have their bunkers in Greenland, and it makes more sense that. And also Greenland is the place where there was the meteor that was 60-40 million years ago. So that also the place better for the next. If you want to survive the next meteor shower, that might be the place where you might go and have a bunker over there. And yeah, that was my analysis. So for me, US annexing Greenland was obvious, but the Canada thing was like I didn't see that one coming. And what are your thoughts? Have you seen any recent clips of Trump, how he speaks about Greenland? Like, what's his rhetoric? What's the tone of him speaking? Have you seen any of his clips recently?
Not recently. Not recently.
Okay, I will say this one thing. I think he said this yesterday, so maybe 12th to 13th of March over there, that he was. This is my moment when the NATO guy was sitting next to him in the Oval Office, and someone asked about Greenland, and he said that, oh, Greenland is a good place. So this is what Trump said, that we have a lot of soldiers over there. We have a lot of camps over there. Then he just turned to the cameras and said that, do you guys think we should send more soldiers over there? And he just started smiling, and I was
The
like,
U.S. is one
oh
giant
no.
military enterprise. That's what we got Alaska for. So yeah, having Greenland would cover the other side. Obviously, that is the plan, and we do know there is to be a third world war. So again, probably just getting the chess pieces in place. D26, we can continue this conversation. I got to let Keith Andrews get on here too, and then I have to hop off because I went over time
Okay,
again.
so just last thing, because I also wanted to leave. actually one of my meal is like waiting out, like it's waiting for me. So I have 3 of your calls. There are 3 of sorry, my mom is calling. I have 3 of your Gmails. So which one is the
Gematria
most
Effect
active? I
News.
forgot
Send
that.
it to the
Hold on, hold
GematriaEffectNews at
on.
gmail.com.
Since she's calling, I can't like hear you. Hold on.
GematriaEffectNews at gmail.com.
Not the 83 one, right?
Not that. Don't send it there.
Okay. I want to send you something maybe this week or next week. That's it. And I will drop you some links over there on WhatsApp. So please check them out.
All right.
Anyways, bye bye.
Will do. All right. Take care, friend. You have a good day.
Yeah, you too.
What's up, Keith? Let me unmute your mic. You're good,
What's
Keith.
up?
What's up?
What's going on? How you doing?
Yeah, how you doing?
I'll let you go. I just got something quick. Use it's called brave.com instead of Google. Brave like Atlanta Braves, but singular. So go to that
Okay.
search, type in Mickelson and Morley, Michelson and Morley, just like it sounds. 1887. All right. I just want you to read that, and I want you like what you glean from that. Like I just want to know what your thoughts are on it. That's all.
The Mickelson-Morley experiment, is this the one?
That's it. You can hang up on me if you want. I just want you to read it, and I want to know what you think.
Okay, I got to get off here in about 2-3 minutes. I guess I can read it real quick. The Mickelson-Morley experiment was performed in the basement of a Western Reserve University dormitory in July of 1887 by Albert A. Mickelson of the Case School of Applied Science and Edward W. Morley of Western Reserve University. It was designed to detect the motion of the Earth through the luminiferous aether, a theoretical substance which, according to the 19th century physicist, was essential to the transmission of light. At the heart of the experiment was an interferometer, a device invented by Michelson, which utilized the interference of light waves to perform measurements of incredible precision. Although an identical experiment undertaken by Michelson at Potsdam in 1880-81 failed to detect any motion of the Earth relative to the ether, leading physicists were anxious for a repetition, thus encouraged Michelson and Morley first undertook a series of preliminary measurements of the velocity.
You can kill it right there if you want, man. That's you already got to the point I wanted you to see. What do you get from that, if anything?
Well, I mean, it's inconclusive, right?
Well, it's inconclusive, but in its inclusivity, they realize that it's a fixed location. So, I mean, it doesn't prove round or flat Earth or anything like that, but it proves a standstill. So I got 4 or 5 other ones like this that are even better that we never fucking heard of. So I just wanted to throw that out there for you.
Okay. All right. Appreciate it, man. All right. Take care. I guess he's a flat earther. Again, what I'd say is in 2025, they've got the coordinates of the Earth all mapped out perfectly with exactly everything you'll see from every inch of the Earth and the skies above, down to the minute. And all the mathematics are based on a spherical Earth and the model that's been presented since the 16th century. So, if you think of some obscure, inconclusive study in 1887 is better proof of what's going on than that, I'd say, the logic is not real strong. But anyway, we'll leave it there for now. Again, thank you to Chris164 and Cornell for the generosity during the stream. And until next time, True Seeker.